Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I want to talk about ABED Storm Spirit. If you don't know who this is, it's the mid laner for EG. A lot of people consider him one of the best. I think there's a good amount of people who think he is actually the best mid laner, at least mechanically. ABED is incredible, and Storm Spirit is a hero that they first phased multiple games in a row. If you don't know what that means, when drafting in Dota, the first phase is the first few picks you have, and usually those picks get counterpicked pretty hard. Regardless of that fact, ABED makes this hero look broken. I want to just take a look at his general gameplay and see what makes him so damn good on this hero. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the gameleap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the gameleap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. So this might seem like a small thing, but honestly this is something I immediately learned from his replay, which is the idea of not overcommitting for the range creep at level 1. So a common idea in Storm Spirit gameplay is that what you do is you walk up to the lane and you attempt to auto attack this range creep multiple times and then proceed to static remnant it. And when you static remnant the range creep, it often will also secure you a melee creep. However, Quinn understands this idea as well. So what we'll end up seeing is that if ABED tried to extend for that creep, there's a decent chance he would potentially get punished by a Leshrac stun. Now, Leshrac didn't even have stun skilled, but he could also just be punished by a Leshrac set of nukes and a Leshrac set of, auto attacks. So instead, what ABED does is something that I have seen before, but it's, I just want to say, like, less common. I mean, basically, he auto attacks down the first melee creep, literally auto attacks it, then nukes, and he understands that 4 autos plus a couple of creep hits plus a nuke is actually enough to kill it. It's pretty insane how these players' intuition is just so good at securing creeps. And then after that, he backs off, doesn't aggro the 2 melee creeps, which is pretty key, so he doesn't take damage the entire time, and then finally secures the range creep when the 2 melee creeps are hitting Quinn. He still gets punished a little bit. Lesh is definitely pretty good against Storm early on in the lane, but it's a really good start to the lane as his last remnant secures all 4 creeps of the first wave. So the next part of his gameplay that allows Storm Spirit to become so broken is Null Talismans. Now you guys might be thinking to yourself, didn't this item get nerfed? The answer to that is not really. So something you guys might know is that they made it where the Null Talisman mana cost reduction stacks diminishingly. So basically the more Null Talismans you buy, the worse the mana cost reduction becomes. But the issue with this is it was barely a nerf. The numbers were super insignificant on that change. The thing was they didn't give the numbers in the patch. They just said it stacks diminishingly now. But it was barely a nerf. Like the numbers were so insignificant. And so yeah, this null stack is still insanely good. And it enables you to just have a ridiculous amount of mana throughout the lane and just throughout the game. And on top of that, at minute 25, when they all double, your hero becomes stupid. Like unironically, 1200 gold is worth more than a lot of 5,000 gold items. And I'm not kidding, like literally 3 nulls or 4 nulls is worth more than having like sometimes what we would call an old bloodstone. Like the old Kaya bloodstone was not much better than having 4 nulls. So one key to this hero as well is definitely his, I would say his proclivity towards farming. So for the first like 30 minutes, 8 minutes, he doesn't actually go for a single kill. He does have a couple of kill combos here, the main one being the Grimstroke Inkswell into Zip combo, but he does not put any priority on it, right? That is not really his main focus here. That's not what he's looking to do. What he's looking to do instead is just make sure that he gets off to a really good start with his first few items and hits really good no talisman timings. And funny enough, he's actually getting outfarmed by the Lesh by a lot, but that's just because of the matchup and because Lesh has an IO. But the thing is, having like 3,300 net worth at minute 8 is really freaking solid. And it's going to enable you later on to get kills. Another thing that happens this game, which I just do want to bring up, is that he does get multiple, and I mean multiple bottle refills throughout this lane. I think he got like 2 already by the 8-minute mark. I think he's going to get a 3rd from his, from his Tidehunter eventually. So it's definitely a decent part in his gameplay to get a lot of bottle refills. If you aren't getting bottle refills, what I recommend you do as kind of the substitute is farm back towards base. So assuming no one's helping you out, then you can take this camp, into this camp, into this camp, and then when you have no bottle charges and no mana, walk back to base, and that's going to be your way to obviously like just keep your bottle up, keep your mana up. And you might be thinking, oh, but that's slower. Yeah, it is slower, but it kind of is what it is. Sometimes you have to change up your gameplay a little bit in pubs because your teammates aren't Crit and Jerax. The next thing ABED is extremely good about is not overcommitting on the Inkswell. There's actually multiple examples throughout this game where he just has the discipline to not double down when he just simply doesn't have the mana for it. And this is kind of just being a good Storm Spirit player. You have to know how much everything costs, and as we'll see here, he hits up a nice set of spells, and most players would 100% commit on this Inkswell, but he doesn't, and the reason why is because he's just afraid of the response from the Mars, who now has ulti, the Leshrac, who has very high movement speed. Basically, there's a decent chance if he commits there, he dies. In fact, the Leshrac ends up coming in here, and that's exactly what happens. So just please understand that if you're trying to get to the next level as a hero like Storm, you got to look at your deaths and see how many times you actually overcommit when it comes to just like feeling like you need to finish off a kill when you shouldn't because you're the mid laner. Don't double down on some position 5 kill if it's going to end up making you get killed as well. So the next thing that he does really well is he actually synergizes with Crit a decent amount this game. They actually recently killed Kezu in the bottom lane with the Inkswell Phantom's Embrace plus Zip combo, and now they're actually going to the jungle, and this is just something that I love. Anytime you pick Storm Spirit, you know you're going to have initiation, right? It's kind of the reason why, I think it's like, honestly the main reason why EG likes Storm so much, because it really enables your draft to just have this like centerpiece hero. Like a big reason why Storm is always popular when the hero is like decent is because it makes your draft pretty well rounded for the most part. It's a good laner as we've seen. And then once again, it gives your team the ability to have this hunt combo. And there's so many heroes that work well with Storm. It could be a Skywrath, it could be a Snapfire, it could be, you know, it could be a Grimstroke like we're seeing here, it could be a Hoodwink. Any hero that basically just follows up on the DPS or on the control is incredibly good. And Grimstroke's biggest problem as a hero is not how much impact he has if you already get on top of them, it's the ability to actually get on top of them. So as we'll see here, the Inkswell comes out, it's gonna hit eventually, and then after that, they're able to eventually just pick up this kill. So it's really, really well done. A big kill, it clears out their jungle, and it really opens up the map for Arteezy. Because now you'll see on Arteezy's Medusa, he knows he's not gonna get ganked, right? How could he get ganked? Mars is dead, he sees where everyone is, he's totally fine. So movements like this with your position 4 completely not only change your own game and get you your own goal, but also open up the map for your carry and even your offlaner if your offlaner is farming. Now this next play, oh my god. This next play was dirty from Crit and ABED and the Arteezy snake on top, but it was dirty. So he's getting chased here. I guess they just felt like they could kill off the Grim, but Crit with a really nice response doesn't panic, gets off the soul behind, and that actually sets up for a pseudo Storm Ags time. As we'll see here, he's gonna zip in on the Storm, and when you pull, it obviously is going to pull them both. And it does like what the Ags would essentially do. It's pretty freaking crazy. That sets up for a Stone Gaze follow-up because the Lesh couldn't turn around. The IO is stuck in the middle, is getting slowed by Overcharge. They all get hit by the Remnant. The snake from Arteezy gets doubled up by the Soulbind as well. And oh my god, they just get decimated. It was a ridiculous play. So that was just some beautiful stuff from ABED and from Crit to set that up. So the next thing ABED does, which is a little bit crazy, is he rushes a BKB on Storm. Yeah, this is when you know the Knolls are probably a little bit too good when you can afford to rush a BKB on Storm Spirit. But it is what it is, and you might be like, why does he buy this? He has a Tide Hunter, he doesn't even need the frontline. What's the idea here? Honestly, the idea I would say is pretty simple. If the enemy team has like some very high value support that you just want to be able to take out of the fight, well, what you do is you just click BKB and you kill them. So this game, most likely who he's going to go on is the IO, right? Even if I hadn't seen the replay, I could still generally assume this because that's kind of the point of BKB on a hero like Storm. Storm can solo kill most supports, it's just whether or not he gets disabled. If you have a BKB, well, he can't be disabled. Alright, so two main things to talk about. Let's get into the team fight here. Let's start with that. So as this team fight breaks out, you're going to see just, this is when you know players understand what their job is before the team fight breaks out. Because the average player kind of just has to react. They don't really have a great sense of what they're supposed to do. Not always, right? Not always, it depends. But as we'll see here, the fight breaks out, right? The Leshrac smoke breaks. And what he does so well is, obviously he hops onto Quinn here, but he quickly understands that as long as his team has even slight backup, he's going to be able to kill this Lesh. And the only reason why this is possible is actually because of number one, the BKB, And number 2, because he actually knows what items Leshrac has. He knows the Leshrac does not have BKB yet. And this is a big thing, right? So there's 2 options here. He can obviously go for the IO, as we kind of talked about, but the IO is very, very far back and would cause him to have to go pretty far with his mana, right? So that's the first thing. And then on top of that, he understands that Leshrac is frankly, I want to say like 80% of Quincy Crew's damage, like kind of unironically. I mean, the TB is pretty farm with the Scotty, but it's going to be hard for him to actually do anything to Storm and Tide at this point of the game. The Mars doesn't do really any damage anymore. So yeah, it's kind of one of those situations where ABED gets that Quincy Crew lacks damage if they kill off the Lesh. They just simply will not be able to do enough. So what does he do? He waits on the pull on the Lesh, allows the Tidehunter to get in. He actually completely waits on the Vortex, which is some crazy freaking stuff, because he must have just, it must have been just pure communication here. There's no way that's intuition to just completely wait on the Ravage, but they wait. He doesn't burn his Vortex till after. That allows Arteezy to come in, clean up the kill, and then they are onto the Mars. The TB couldn't do anything in that entire fight. And yeah, it was just an extremely good engagement for EG. So all in all, the BKB timing clearly showing off what it does. It allows you to stick on targets that don't have BKB and basically be the initiators. So once again, it can do 2 things. You can either solo kill a support if you think it's valuable enough, or the alternative is you can identify a core that does not have a defensive item and basically stick on top of them, prevent them from moving because you have overload slow and then a vortex. And then, yeah, you're just going to keep them in place for your team. So you're essentially just an initiator with this build, and it works extremely well against the Luscious game. So the next little cool thing about his Storm gameplay here is he actually buys the Shard as his next item after BKB. Yeah, the Shard. If you don't know what it is, basically it's an active on your Overload, and when you click it, everyone in an AoE from you gets 3 Overload charges. So basically when they auto attack, they proc. It's pretty crazy, right? Because it's 100 AoE damage on 3 attacks. Those attacks also slow movement speed and attack speed. And when you give them this shard, these overload charges, it also gives them a bonus attack speed of 40 on their next 3 autos, which is pretty decent as well. So we'll see in this play here, I'm just going to watch a Tidehunter. So the fight breaks out, the Tidehunter actually gets some overload charges here, and now he can actually just do a decent amount of damage. It actually worked on his Anchor Smash there, which was pretty funny. Who knew that would be an interaction in the game? But yeah, it works pretty freaking well there. And it's really honestly just one of those talents or shards that is pretty underrated, because if you hit this, let's say on 4 of your teammates, which is like mildly reasonable, that's an extra what? 1200 damage, right? AoE magical damage, and it's AoE, so it can be a lot more, and it slows, right? So really, really cool. Even look at this IO. I'm pretty sure the IO just pops because of the shard here. As we'll see on the Anchor Smash, I believe the Anchor Smash just does like 300 damage or something. Look at it. Yeah, look at that. Wow. That's crazy, man. That's actually kind of nuts. So a lot of viability there. Pretty cool with the Anchor Smash. And I'm not going to lie, what's honestly somewhat stupid about this Storm Spirit build right now is that even though it's not even 25 minutes into the game, which means this is only going to get worse in 40 seconds. But okay, he had an Arcane Rune. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, how does he have mana to zip on all of these targets and then catch the Leshrac at the end of the fight, who is like pretty far away? It's just, I mean, that was mostly the Arcane Rune there for sure. But these Knolls, man, and they double soon, which is just disgusting. Oh, and by the way, when it hits minute 25, instead of buying like a point booster as his next item, he buys another Knoll. Oh my god. Yeah. All right, and that's going to be about the end of this video, as we're going to see him just kind of own this next team fight. He forces out the BKB of the Terrorblade in a moment here, which is just an insanely good play. Anytime the enemy team has low catch and you think it's unlikely you're going to be found, you can just force out BKBs. ZUR completely gets destroyed here on the TB. No BKB anymore. So he's obviously now in a very, very, very vulnerable position, and they're going to eventually be able to end the game. And yeah, these Knolls are just kind of insane as he finds a 2-man pull onto the backline, pops his BKB, pops the E, pops the Overload Shard, and yeah, they just decimate the Terrorblade, who no longer has BKB. So all in all, just insane gameplay from ABED. I definitely expect EG to continuously pick Storm. I don't think there will really ever be a point soon again where they aren't picking Storm unless this Knoll nonsense gets nerfed. So nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.